Good afternoon, everyone. Now, I'd already filmed today's assembly before the weekend. However, I just had to add a little bit on the beginning after Friday because, as you all know, Key Stage 2 took part in Dance Live on Friday. What an incredibly busy day, right down to the last second. We were still sellotaping hats together as we were walking down to the stage after our final call. But I am absolutely over the moon to tell you that we came second, which means that we were one of only two schools that will be going through from our heat to the grand final in May. So we get to do all of this all over again, only even bigger and better. I think every single person that was there would agree that the atmosphere was absolutely electric. And it was actually quite nice to see all of our hard work and effort with face paint and makeup and hair be completely ruined when the entire audience jumped up and screamed and cried when they announced Colden Common Primary School as the first school going through to the finals. It was such an amazing moment. So if there is somebody in your room, whether it is an adult or a child, right now that was involved in Dance Live, give them a thunderous applause, please, because it takes months and months and months of work to do this. Miss Williams was working on the soundtrack way back last June, before any of us or any of you even knew about it. So it takes that long to get these things organised. So an absolutely incredible effort from everybody. We have photos and videos. You can see I've been watching the video that I took of our final rehearsal on the stage, and every time I watch it, I get more and more proud of everyone involved. Dance Live themselves have filmed a proper video, which we will receive, and when we get that, we'll do a proper assembly for you all, so you can see the video of the journey to Dance Live and you can see the actual performance, and all of the photos that we took as well. There are a few sneak previews on the first slide of the assembly PowerPoint. But just to say, you've probably seen, hopefully, our three amazing awards somewhere in school already. They'll be displayed very proudly. We won the Best Journey to Dance Live video. We won the award for the best concept overall, and obviously we came second overall as well, which is, again, incredible. So a massive well done to everyone involved, especially Daisy, who was our lead dancer. And special mention to Layla Gibbons, who learned all of Daisy's parts just in case Daisy wasn't able to make it today. So really incredible there. And Josh as well, who wasn't on stage for the performance, but all of the incredible lighting that you will see when you see our performance was single-handedly done by Josh. So well done to him and to everyone else that was involved in the performance. An electric day, so incredible, probably one of my favourite ever moments of the last 8 years of working at this school. And as I say, you'll see all of the pictures and all of the footage in the coming weeks. So well done, everyone. Right, on to the actual assembly. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another Monday assembly. You will notice, if your teachers have got the PowerPoint open that I sent them, that today is a very special day. I wonder if you can tell me what that day is. Pause the video, have a moment to discuss what is today, and what does that actually mean? Okay, I'm pretty sure most of you will have been able to tell me it is Valentine's Day today, and I'm sure lots of you will have said it's something to do with love and loving each other. What I'd like you to do, before I say whether you are right or not, is have a little look at the link that I put on that PowerPoint slide and learn a little bit more about what Valentine's Day is and where it came from. There is a video on there, there's a few little quizzes on there, so spend 5 minutes or so having a look at that, and then come back to this video and we'll look a little bit further. Okay, so I hope that you now know a little bit more about Valentine and Saint Valentine, and how that came about. And just before we move on, I want to have a little moment of reflection, because to me, in addition to all of those other things, a really good way to summarise what Valentine's Day is about is to care for somebody is to show somebody that you like them, whether that's in a friendship way or in another way, and to be particularly sweet to other people. So just before we move on, I want you to think, how can you be sweet? Or how can you show somebody that you really care about them? You don't have to share that with anyone, but just take a moment to pause and reflect on how you could show somebody that you care. Okay, so moving on then to the next slide. St. Valentine, you'll have noticed, was famous because he helped people to marry, among many other reasons, involving bees, which you may not have known. Hopefully that's something new you learnt today. So it's all about showing affection to other people. Some of you may want to pause the video now and talk about that word affection and what it means. I'm not going to stop now, but if you need to know what it means, put your hand up now and tell your teacher, and you can have a discussion about that. So on that PowerPoint slide, I have put a range of photos there that might represent affection. Now, it's not all of the ways affection can be represented, it's only some of the ways. You might not think that each of these photos represents affection. It's individual, it means different things to different people. But pause the video a moment and think about why each of these photos may represent affection. You may recognise a few people from some of those photos. Great if you do, because that means that you'll be able to bring a little bit more to the discussion. So pause the video, have that discussion, and then come back. Okay, so hopefully you have realised that there's a whole range of different types of affection being shown there. We've got friendship, we've got different types of families, we've got peers. You'll notice right down at the bottom there, you might not be able to see, it's quite small, that is Centaur's class there, taken back in the autumn term. So lots of different ways to show affection. Now moving on to the next slide, I just wanted to pick up on these three photos in particular. So pause the video, talk about each one of those photos and what you think they mean in terms of what affection looks like. Is it always the same for different people? So talk about those three things and then come back to me. Okay, so I'll start with that first one there, with the white background. They are two friends there. They don't look very happy. Does that mean that they don't care about each other? Hopefully you said not necessarily. It doesn't mean that they don't care about each other. And it's really important that we remember that sometimes we argue or get upset with people that we do care about and people that care about us. And the reason for that is that we care. We want to be affectionate towards them. If we didn't care about what they thought, then we wouldn't need to argue, because we'd just go, oh yeah, they think that, that's fine. But because you do care about them, you want them to be happy, you want them to see your way of thinking, which can sometimes mean that there is a little bit of unhappiness, a little bit of arguments, a few arguments, but it doesn't mean that they are not your friend or they don't want to be affectionate. You might recognise those people. You might recognise those two other people in the top corner over there. That's obviously Mr. Chalk and I, and Mr. Chalk is very famous for eating as much food as he possibly can. I did ask him if I could put this photo in there, and he said, "You can, but it does make me look like a pig." Yes, it does. But what do you think that photo there is showing? Mr. Chalk and I are obviously very good friends. But does that make it okay for Mr. Chalk to steal food from my plate? Does that mean that he doesn't care about me and my food if he is wanting to take some of that? Hopefully when you discussed that, you said actually part of being affectionate to your friends, affectionate to people that you know, is sharing things between you as well. And I very kindly, because I'm a very kind person, shared some of my food with Mr. Chalk there. But again, it doesn't necessarily look, if you saw someone doing that, you might think, oh, they don't like each other very much. He's stealing his food. But actually, it doesn't always mean what you think it means. So it's really important to understand yourself and the people around you. And that leads me on nicely to the next photo there. And that is, that's my class. Not everyone's in it, unfortunately. that's from our rivers trip in the autumn term. And this is probably the trickiest one to figure out why I've put it in there. And I've chosen to put that in there because I wanted you to think about being affectionate to yourself. So this photo of my class represents all of you guys here at school. And I want you to think about, how can you look after yourself as well? So take a moment to think about that. Pause the video. How can you show affection to yourself and make sure that you are okay? Okay, so many people, thinking back to Valentine's Day itself, many people won't have a Valentine because some people think that it's specifically someone you're in love with, or a boyfriend or girlfriend. Some people don't have one of those things. Some people don't have a family, or they have various types of families. But it doesn't mean that that's not okay. You often know what's best for you, and sometimes you need to stand by your own morals. That's the other thing that I've put on that slide there, and that's really important because as you go through life, and particularly on days like today, people might look at you and go, they must be really unhappy. They haven't received a Valentine's card. But actually, it's really important to look after yourself and know what makes you happy and know what makes the people around you happy as well. Now, the next photo, which some of you may not want to look at. So teachers, if you don't want to look at this photo, feel free to skip to the last slide on the PowerPoint. But this photo is a photo that Mrs. Burden actually sent to me because we are studying Titanic in Year 6 at the moment. But it really made me think, and it inspired me to think, yes, sometimes you really just need to stand your ground and make sure you do what is best for you. So this is a person here called R. Norris Williams, and he survived the sinking of Titanic. And he spent so much time submerged in the icy water that doctors wanted to remove his legs. So unfortunately, if you spend a long time in freezing cold water, such as the ocean next to an iceberg, you can get something called frostbite. So parts of your body aren't able to survive. And he was asked by doctors, he was told his legs were really badly damaged, so he needed to have them removed. Now pause the video. What would you say and how would you feel if someone said that to you? Would you want to say yes to that? Or would you not say yes to that? What do you think? Okay, now I'm hoping there were lots of different answers there with that discussion. You might say, yes, I'd want to do whatever the doctors told me to make sure I was okay, or no, I'd want to do everything I could to make sure I kept as much of my body healthy as I possibly can. Lots of different reasons for that. But again, it goes back to knowing yourself and knowing what's right for you. And I can reveal that this person, pretty inspiring, he was rescued by the Carpathia. He refused to have his legs removed, and instead he worked really hard on looking after himself, and then went on to win the US Tennis Championship in the same year that Titanic sank. So he did that pretty quickly, and then he also served in the army in World War I, and received awards as well for his service. So he didn't just go, yeah, you're right, I should do what you think. He really understood himself and what was right for him, and made sure he focused on looking after himself to make sure that he could then go and achieve amazing things, even with the disabilities that he ended up with as a result of surviving the sinking of the Titanic. So one incredibly inspiring man there. Okay, last moment for the assembly today is a bit of reflection. I really want you to use the opportunity of Valentine's Day today to think about how you can show affection to other people. And it may be someone that you love very dearly. It could be a family member. It could be a boyfriend or girlfriend. I know that some people in Year 6 will be giving eyes to each other at the moment. Think about someone you really care about. It could be friendship. And I want you to think about something, take a moment to think to yourself, something that you are going to do to make sure that those people know that you care and they know that you are affectionate towards them. How will you do that? Just think to yourself. And then, before you finish for the day, hopefully each of you have got a little slip of paper. And I want you to choose somebody, and you may not wish to choose somebody that would expect it to be you. I want you to write their name down secretly, and then I would like you to write something really nice about that person. It may be that your teachers have given you a name to write about, and that's perfect. But I want you to write something really nice about that person that you can think of, that's going to cheer them up, that's going to make them think, oh, people do really like that about me. Don't write your name on it, and your teacher will collect them all in anonymously and then dish them out or read them out so that each of you has something that somebody else really likes about you. And that'll be a really lovely way to finish your day. So thank you for listening. Have that moment of reflection in a moment, and I will see you around the rest of the week.